What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today is day 5 of the 6th annual 10 Days of Pumpkin here on the channel. And the beer I'm reviewing today comes from the Lexington Brewing and Distilling Company, and they're out of Lexington, Kentucky. And this is their Kentucky Pumpkin Barrel Ale, and this is the 2023 release. So they are calling this one an ale with a natural pumpkin flavor and aged in oak bourbon barrels. It comes in at 10% alcohol by volume, 16 IBUs at the time of review, and this bottle is approximately 7 weeks old. So full disclosure, I have never had this one before, but I've had beers from Lexington before, but this is the first beer I'm reviewing from them on the channel. I've had their flagship, bourbon barrel ale. I've had the vanilla cream variant. I've had the coffee variant, and I've also had, it's coffee stout, that is, and I've had their, was it a blackberry porter? So I've had those, never had this. I've been eyeing this the last couple years. You know, like, I've never reviewed anything from them on the channel. Let's do it for the 10 Days of Pumpkin, so here we are. Now, if you look on their website, I didn't find like too much information on exactly what's in this, but on Untapped, in the description, they have pretty much everything is brewed with. Now, as far as like, they say, natural pumpkin flavor, basically what that encompasses is they're brewing this one, they say, with, I think it's brown sugar. They're using, was it Kentucky pumpkin butter? They also mentioned pecans, and then I think it's cinnamon, nutmeg, and allspice for the actual spices. I don't know if they're using actual pumpkin here. It does say, natural pumpkin flavor, so who knows? And then they obviously age it in oak bourbon barrels. So anyway, I've been curious to see what this one's all about. It's 10%, and I've always viewed Lexington from their barrel series as like, the cheaper kind of value barrel beer. Like most of these are between $3 to $4 for a bottle. A 4-pack will usually run around here, typically like $14. So that's pretty cheap if you want something barrel aged in 10%. So I'm hoping this is quite tasty. We will find out. So let's give it a pour here. Wanted to go with, this is basically a barrel aged glass instead of like, I like to do the pumpkin themed ones, but I went with this one today because why not? Sneak a little taste there. Okay, didn't really get much, to be honest with you. So yeah, that kind of looks like a pumpkin beer, if we're being honest. I'm not reviewing really any like traditional pumpkin beers this year that are just like, 6-7% that are just, brewed with pumpkin and pumpkin spices, but that kind of looks like one. Has that like burnt orange, almost amber-esque, deep orange, we'll say, color. A lot of floaties, has about a finger and a half of this lightly tan-colored head, creamy but also soap sudsy looking at the same time. Decent carbonation, clarity is very good. Yeah, nice look to it. Let's get a nose. Okay. So first thing I notice is the barrel aging. There's a nice vanilla kind of like oaky kind of presence in the nose. A little bit of caramel sweet. There's an underlying earthiness and like spice component that, if I'm being honest with you, if I was doing this blind, maybe looking at the color of it, I don't think I would say pumpkin, because I'm not really getting a substantial pumpkin in the nose. Whether that's the pumpkin itself or the pumpkin spice. The nose kind of reminds me of like a rye whiskey barrel. So I'm getting a spiciness that I would associate more with like rye as opposed to pumpkin spices. There's caramel, there's brown sugar, there's a little bit of molasses, toffee. Like your typical, like a generic ale. Like their bourbon barrel ales really used to remind me of like a bigger version of Innocent Gun, where you'd get like caramel and toffee and things of that nature. And that's kind of what I'm getting here. Kind of just smells like the bourbon barrel ale, honestly. Now, I don't know if they, brew it with spices and everything and then age it in the oak bourbon barrels, or they put the spices, they age it on the spices after. But I'm not getting a huge spice component. It honestly smells pretty fucking good. Like as far as if you're just saying, hey, here's a barrel aged beer. Yeah, it smells pretty good. Getting the actual oak, getting the barrel, the underlying beer again is like a generic ale, but it doesn't have the pumpkin you would associate with something like this. But I don't really care right now because it smells pretty good. Hopefully there's a little bit more going on. Oh, hang on. It's got like a little bit of like a sweet cherry. Interesting. I don't know. Anyway, maybe my palate and my snifter tonight is broken. I don't know. Let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. All right, so there's the faintest hint of a pumpkin ale on the finish. That's pretty good. That's pretty damn good. I don't think it's going to blow your socks off if you're looking for like something with an intense pumpkin flavor. But for something that I paid less than $4 for a bottle, it's 10+%, aged in oak bourbon barrels, and it has, a bunch of different spices and adjuncts and stuff in here. Can't really be mad, to be honest with you. Mine, this is higher side of medium, lower side of full. 10% might be a bit thin, but I actually like that. I think it helps the drinkability. The mouthfeel, it's mild to moderately carbonated, more approaching moderately, but it does have a smooth, almost creamy kind of sensation. So body might be a little bit thin. I think it's all right. And the mouthfeel, really nice. The taste, everything from the nose carried over, but basically what I get is like this pumpkin spice kind of finish. So right up front, there's a lot of like good malt character. There's caramel, there's toffee, brown sugar, a touch of molasses. There's vanilla omnipresent throughout. Probably from the barrels, but just like it's there, underlying, never steps in the way, but definitely there. As it gets to about midway through the palate, the oak and the bourbon hit, so it has this like almost peppery kind of, again, rye whiskey, but I think that's the spices, but I couldn't tell you, like if I was doing this blind, there's no way I'm telling you it's pumpkin spice, especially halfway through the palate. But it has a nice like oaky kind of presence. It's not too big on the oak tan and dryness, which a lot of times turns me off on some barrel-aged beers. Excuse me. But as it continues on through the palate, the finish starts to dry out. It says a semi to full-on dry finish. Mildly bitter, but more dry than anything. And I start getting like this essence of like cinnamon and nutmeg and allspice, and the vanilla kind of sneaks back up and intertwines with everything. %, hides it pretty well. If I was doing this blind, I'd probably guess like, 9%, maybe. Yeah, probably around 9%. There is a warming into my chest, into my stomach. Like I can feel a warming in this general vicinity. No astringency on the palate. So nice from that aspect. But I could tell it's a bigger beer just because it's barrel aged. The body's really nice. If you were if I was guessing, I would be like, oh yeah, it's totally at least 8%, right? Again, might be a little bit thin for 10, but again, it doesn't bother me at all. This is good. This is a good beer. And I know I'm acting like I'm surprised, but again, I always consider Lexington to be that like value barrel-aged brewery where like if you want your fix, so to speak, of a barrel-aged beer, you don't have to break the bank to try their stuff, right? And to pick it up. And I think that's where this kind of lands for me. I think it was like $13.99 a 4-pack for something that's 10% with all that stuff. That's a good value. What would I like to see out of this more to get a higher score and to really enthrall me to the point where I'm like recommending this and going nuts? Well, number one, I'd want more pumpkin and more pumpkin. I'm not really getting that earthiness I was getting in the nose. I want more pumpkin. I definitely want more pumpkin, 100%. Whether that's the pumpkin itself or the pumpkin spice, I want more of the whole natural pumpkin flavor, they say. I think that's the key thing. If they gave me more of that, if the finish was a little bit more substantial, or I was, definitely noticeable throughout the palate, I think this would get into the 4.25 range, which is a pretty fucking high score. As is, though, I still enjoy this one quite a bit, and I'm happy I picked it up. Plain and simple. Kentucky Pumpkin Barrel Ale, the 2023 release. More often than not, a beer like this, and I've said this actually a couple of videos ago. Maybe it was day 1 or 2. I think it was day 1 specifically because I did a pumpkin Merton Oktoberfest hybrid with a pumpkin spice beer, right? I've always said that when you do a generic ale like this, they don't specify what the base beer is. A lot of times those end up not being all that good because you don't have a base beer that's good. It's not a specific style. You're not really brewing it to hold up to all the adjuncts, and in this case, the barrel aging. I think this base ale is actually pretty good. Couldn't tell you what the base would be like. I couldn't sit here and specify what it is. But for something that just calls itself an ale, they've done a pretty good job with it. So I'm going to have to give Kentucky Pumpkin Barrel Ale, the 2023 release, I'm going to give that a high 4 out of 5. Well, 4.05. Not crazy high, not insane, but I would say if this is something you would like to try out, give it a go, especially if you can get it for under $4 a bottle, or if you're buying a 4-pack, if you can get it under $14 4-pack, give it a go. I think this is pretty damn good and something that I would recommend if you like pumpkin beers and you like barrel-aged beers. Give this a go. The worst thing, it wastes $4. I've wasted way more on substantially worse beers in my lifetime. Price and availability, again, I've been talking about the entire review, but price point, again, I think I paid at the most $3.99 for that bottle. It might have been a little less. So you're talking $14, $14 $16 for a 4-pack, and I think it was $13.99 in my neck of the woods. I'm starting to get hammered. Neck of the woods, woods of the neck of the woods. So if it's cheaper by you, kudos. If it's a bit more expensive, I don't really. If it was like 15 or 16 bucks, that's fine. And availability, I don't know with this brewery, but I do know a lot of people see this. So if you get any of their beers, you probably should have seen this already, if not on your shelves right now. And yeah, not much more to say about it. The 10% is hidden, but it's starting to hit me all at once. Like I'm starting to feel, I mean, as you can see, I'm starting to kind of like stumble over my words. I'm a lightweight. Okay, I'm a lightweight. I don't drink a lot, so at this point, and that sounds crazy because I have a beer reviewing channel where I post a review every day, but I really don't get drunk anymore. So when I start drinking a big beer like this, I feel it. Anyway, if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this one. I don't know where I'd place this amongst their beers, the aforementioned ones I've had. It's definitely up there though. I think it's pretty good. Anyway. Check back tomorrow for day 6. I don't remember what day 6 is. It might be, it's either Jack's Abbey Pumpkin Crop Lager or I think it might be the Evil Genius Trick or Treat, which is their chocolate pumpkin porter. Regardless, we got 5 more days to go because we're at the halfway point, and I can't wait to check out the rest of the pumpkin beers for the 10 days of pumpkin. So yeah, anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.